you have like the Rochdale grooming gangs. They made that documentary, Three Girls.
Yeah, Maggie Oliver.
3 girls. I found 10 kids in 10 minutes once. I found 52 kids in 3 days. London. When do we ever hear of one solitary case of grooming? We hear Luton, Reading, Basingstoke, Bradford, Rochdale, Carlisle. I can name them all. Provincial towns with small populations. The only unifying thing with them is these so-called Muslim grooming gangs, right?
There were gangs, white gangs in Exeter, I think I was hearing about.
Yeah. And I turned around and said, we're not heard from one from London. London is the most diverse city in the world. There is no city compares in diversity. It's the 3rd most densely populated city in Europe, in the Western world. By statistics, we should at least have one. Yeah. And the reason they don't have any, because they don't employ anyone to look at it. Policing on prostitution, child prostitution, again, I'm not endorsing this tag it's got. I'm just saying it is.
You've got to use some words.
It is what it is, yeah. Do you know what I mean? We shouldn't hang up on semantics.
What you're saying is some people might say child prostitution would imply that the children
have a choice.
I don't think it does. I think it's clear the prostitution comes from above and they're forced into.
Of course, The intelligent will work it out. But anyway, but it will never present itself, right? You have to proactively look for it, right? So with this case, we had about 3 dozen young kids very quickly, and they all said one thing. They said, look, the prostitute that was running them, the police knew about them, and I found some archive files that showed that they knew that she was involved in this 15 years ago and predating on kids from the care system, right, because there's no one looking out for them. On top of that, right, she had connections with the police, and on top of that, there was a police officer that was involved, a police officer that was actually working with her and dropping kids off, sometimes to parliamentary addresses, right? That was silenced and hushed up, and that officer was allowed to retire, right, without incident. And there was a judge involved, and there was someone high up in the BBC involved.
Really?
So I put this intelligence report together saying, look, this is what's going on. There was 2 of us working on it, 2 of us, right? We wasn't even dedicated. We were in our hearts, but officially we weren't a dedicated unit to deal with it. We were on the point of mental breakdowns, both of us, you know, drinking heavily and not sleeping, and we were really a wreck. But we were we spent probably the 2 years we was on it, most of it living on the street. We actually lived on the street, me and this female partner of us, because that's where we were getting the kids from. We were trawling the streets, finding them, bang, bang. And anyway, so I put this report in. The next day, it gets deleted. So the next day I put the report on again, and it gets on the system, and I get a unique log reference. Within minutes, I'm called up to the big house, up to Scotland Yard. I'm met there by someone who went on to become the UK's most senior police officer. I'll leave it at that. He has been named in a civil inquiry, but I'm not going to do it for the purpose of this. Hopefully it will come out. And he turned around and said, what the effing hell have you done? This is going to screw us, past, present, and future. This cannot and will not get out. I said, but you knew about it. He said, of course. He said, but it ain't getting out. He said, if you mention a word of this, you will lose your home, your job, and your children. You say nothing, you will be thrown to the wolves. You are screwed. You won't be able to go anywhere doing it. He said, I'm telling you now, John, you need to back down now. You have no idea who you're dealing with, right? And I didn't know what or who I was dealing with, but I was frightened. I was really, really frightened. And he said, and it shut down. So second time, within a very short period of time, shut down. All to do with children and paedophilia. No other criminality, children, paedophilia, bang, you all hit.
Who were you dealing with? You said no idea who you were dealing with.
At the time, no.
Do you know now?
Yeah. In a demographic, I know, right? And I'll explain that in 2 secs. When you get a child and you sexually abuse them, right? there's three parts to us as a person. We've got the physical self, the intellectual self, and the emotional self. So if you class it like as a snowman with 3 balls of snow, if you sexually abuse a child and harm a child in that way at a young age, physically, will it affect them? Apart from the obvious, that a child's body is not in any way sexually engineered for a grown man, for example.
Yeah.
And it will cause some horrific things, which I'd like to mention shortly in its context, what it will do and why it causes problems in society. And it is quite a valid point that I'll put across in a minute. But I want to keep this in the context of the time being, right? But physically, people can go on to be incredibly, achieve well physically. So you get a lot of people join these elite regiments that have come from kids' homes. So the BBC put out a documentary about the SAS. They interviewed 5 SAS soldiers. 3 of them have been sexually abused in care homes out of the 5. Wow, what percentage for a small demographic, you know? Because there's a need to, I've been hurt, you'll never hurt me like I've been hurt.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Empower yourself, physically empower yourself. There's a lot of boxers, MMA fighters that have come from serious child abuse.
Ricky Hatton he died this morning.
Yeah.
At the time of recording, I don't know when this will go out. It might have been a few weeks ago, but he just died.
Yeah,
and I know he had mental health issues. I have no idea what happened, but I don't think we know yet, do we? But he had all sorts going on.
The podcasting is becoming like quite an industry now. Mm-hmm. And the main sort of appetite is gangsters, and gangsters. Listen to any gangster giving a story of their life. All been abused. Honestly, I went on to Terry Stone's thing. I said, Terry, because that's his main genre, criminal connections and all this. I said, I'm going to tell you now, I won't be proved wrong. Most of the people you deal with would have come from the care system. And anger is trauma. Anger is trauma. Simple as that. You get an angry person, they're traumatized. And
my mate Liam Tufts, do you know him?
I know of him. I don't know him.
Well, he had a horrible childhood in that respect as well.
You'll see the same. And again, like intellectually, people will cheat. They will overachieve. So you've got this weird thing with CEOs. There's more of a degree of psychopathy within CEOs, and you know they've achieved incredibly well intellectually, and that Gordon Gekko type, mentality, because that will stem from pain. So you can do well as a byproduct of abuse. But the one thing you'll never put right, unless you get proper therapy, is your emotions. That emotional clock stops the moment you're abused, stops. So we need the emotional self to reason, right? And when you get unreasonable people, they've been abused. So, for example, road rage, right? A car cuts you up. Big deal. Life goes on. But some people, we've all seen that video. Oh, I'm Ronnie Pickering. Have you seen? Well, where's his anger come from?
Who are you? Ronnie Pickering.
But I don't know Ronnie Pickering. I've no need to want to even know who he is. But looking at him,
don't tell him that.
Yeah,
he'll come down to the studio.
Ronnie, get some emotional therapy because you're an unreasonable man. Yeah. And I know from my experience where that unreasonability comes from. So that they have an inability to reason, and they're broken. And so everything they deal with will be with the emotional intelligence of that 4-year-old broken child. And you see it a lot on these podcasts when people are interviewed, and you see them angry and they're trying to dominate, and it's, I hate you. You see it come out. It's a childishness coming out of someone. And that was part of my game for years when I was doing the interview, and we had to assess people. Yeah. And we'd look for faults in their emotional state. I'd look at people's value system. What do people value? Well, an emotionally broken person will value childish things. She'll get a grown man, might like having threesomes on a Learjet, drinking champagne, as a grown man. Well, for me, there's quite a well-known individual that sort of quotes that. That's his idea of an ideal day out. It might come to you in a minute who I'm on about.
Yeah. And Russell Brand or something.
He's a very damaged man. You can tell he's damaged, and there will be everything's on the sexual with him. But I'm on about Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate's,
Right.
again, I don't know the guy, and not in any way denigrating him, but what I'm going by is how he presents himself with his value system. It's a wet dream of a young teenage adolescent man. So for me, I'd pretty much say, if I was interviewing him, that would be a way in. There seems to be a bit of a hatred of women now. Maybe his mother hasn't protected him.
Something might have happened when he was younger.
Yeah. You know, there's a need to, again, physically dominate the scene, which he's done. Intellectually, he's on top of his game. He's a very
Smart guy.
intelligent guy, but emotionally, he's not all there.
No.
And again, I'm just going on what I see. I don't know him, and I'm not denigrating him. You know, I don't know whether he knows me. He might not even see my stuff. But what I'm saying is, emotionally, there's something very seriously wrong there. Same with Russell Brand. Russell Brand is his trip to Christianity, I find very questionable. I think it's an insurance policy more than anything else. Yeah. And that's not a man who sort of really is living a Christian life.
It was very convenient, wasn't it?
Very convenient.
Because he's moved to the one group who will defend him against any potential allegations.
Yeah.
Not that we don't know the inside info, but you know, I agree with you. Can I ask you a favor? Please subscribe. 90% of you are not subscribed, so if you sub, it will help the channel, and I'll keep making these clips.